All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course. Start it, pause it. You got to do that every time. Otherwise, it tries to autoplay and shit. Musically assured destruction. Biden is saying Trump is inheriting a great economy, as if he is betting on some sort of crash to occur over the next 4 years. That's actually something that I wanted to talk about in a video in the next couple of days. I have a feeling that they're laying some traps for Donald Trump. Clem Simple, Clank Lucas in the house. Crank Lucas, by the way, is a very good content creator. His 80s rap is pretty on fucking point. I'd get a Crank Lucas album. Anyways, let's get to the news. Police have suspect's notebook describing rationale for CEO killing. I have a feeling that with regards to the Luigi case, something is terribly wrong. I made a video about it this morning. Something is terribly wrong here. None of this makes sense. And now that we've got, at least a couple of sentences from the notebook, it makes even less sense. So we're either dealing with an unmitigated madman or we're dealing with a Saran sort of situation. 17 diapers mom under investigation after son appears to flinch in video with his dad. Yeah, the mommy influencer circuit. I've seen all this stupid horse shit on like TikTok and YouTube. And there's like a whole generation of people that can't keep their kids offline. And so instead they literally make money showing their kids off as though they were purses. It's sort of like the modern equivalent of the Ethiopian famine child, NIMBYist or something like that. Like when the yuppies used to adopt kids from third world countries and then show them off to their house guests and stuff. I don't necessarily have a problem with this individual. I haven't watched the video, so I'm not implicating her or her family or anything like that. And she sounds like potentially, everything's fine. But I wanted to talk about sort of like the child involved influencing thing, because I think it's the most cringe thing in the goddamn world. And it's like, okay, your kid's not being abused. That's great. That's good to know. But you shouldn't be showing your kid off online at all. Your kid shouldn't be online. Your kid's not old enough to even use a smartphone, and they probably use it better than I do already. So, keep that in mind. I'm a little bit old school. I'm a little bit old fashioned. We have the judge rejecting the purchase by the Onion, of course, of Infowars. So we'll talk about that. And then there's another story, and this is not getting nearly as much attention as it probably should be getting. And it gives me like COVID era vibes. Deadly virus samples went missing from lab in major biosecurity breach, say authorities. Health officials have launched investigation into unacceptable lapse. This is over in Australia. Live rabies virus was leaked from the lab. That's good news. I'm sure nothing bad can possibly happen about that. Sir Thomas Drake, Luigi was MK Ultra, I think. I think I agree with you, by the way. Call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't give a shit. He basically disappeared from his friend's circle for 3 months. A few days before the assassination, Pelosi sold off stocks related to business related to United Healthcare. Yeah, again, so many coincidences are happening lately. Trump is already winning. New York City ending use of migrant shelters in Albany, Colony, and Hudson Valley. Yes, 25 are going to be closed because there are less migrants coming in. Well, imagine that. All you needed was a change of administration. All of a sudden, everything is hunky-dory. I have a feeling we're headed for a few years of really, really good times, assuming that somebody doesn't brain Donald Trump, which would probably cause riots in the streets. So, we must protect Donald Trump at all costs. Breaking: Trump's pick to lead the Department of Education, Linda McMahon, says the administration will return control of education to the states. This is exactly what we want. This is exactly why I voted Trump. That would be amazing. If the states control education, yes, some states will lapse. They'll have some problems. Other states, unbridled by the federal government, will do much, much better than they currently do. That's sort of the way that it works. Are there going to be people that fall through the cracks? Potentially. Are there going to be people who soar ahead simply because the federal government is no longer in their way? Yeah, and I think that that's a better situation than the sort of mundane bullshit that we have right now. Felix Fanboy Rico, good morning, Sticks. Good morning to you as well, Felix. The Dashing Rogue, it wasn't Luigi, it was Waluigi. Also, the bird was the getaway driver. Yeah, supposedly the dude had, we'll get into this. This story went from weird to weirder to goddamn insane in the course of a few days. Nothing about it makes sense. Okay, you've got chronic, terrible lower back pain. But you're biking away from the scene and then traveling an extended distance. And then you get caught in a McDonald's. After your mom has filed a missing persons report last month, and you have a manifesto, which might have been written on the side of a Big Mac wrapper, and we're not 100% sure. Nothing about this case actually makes sense. I have a feeling that he's a fall guy. I don't think that he was necessarily the assassin at all. And if he was probably fried out of his mind by government-supplied drugs or something. We're going to find some CIA involvement or something like that. Cooking Inferno. Crypto market is ripping my butt, has sisters. Yeah, the entire case, we'll get into it right now. Police have suspect's notebook describing rationale for CEO killing. It's targeted, precise, and doesn't risk innocence, said a sentence in a spiral notebook belonging to the man charged with murdering Brian Thompson. I don't know. I think that there were some things scribbled on the side of the Big Mac container as well. The notebook described going to a bean counter conference and killing an executive, the official said. What do? You whack the CEO at the annual parasitic bean counter convention. It's targeted, precise, and doesn't risk innocence. Actually, that's kind of noble. You don't want to kill bystanders. That's something that the government, unfortunately, doesn't engage in. Was one of the passages written in the notebook, the officials said. The shooting occurred early December 4th as Mr. Thompson arrived early at a Hilton hotel on West 54th Street to prepare for the United Healthcare Investors Day gathering. And, of course, he had, see, the story gets really strange. He's got a bunch of foreign currency, and he's got a passport. Quite clearly, that indicates that he expected to get, assuming that he's the shooter at all, this indicates that he was expecting to get away with it. But then he also says he doesn't know where, like, the $8,000 US came from. He has no clue how the money even got there. I have a feeling that that was what he was paid, by the way, for the hit. You've got a missing persons report. You've got all sorts of, nothing about this makes sense. I can't even describe it. It's like, it's fucking crazy shit. Yeah, the bean counter conference thing is, imagine like clerical work, like you're counting beans, quite literally. You're just doing, clerical work. That's what that's a reference to. But, I mean, you write a manifesto while you clearly expected to get away with it, assuming that the official narrative is true. You had a passport and foreign currency. That means you meant to flee. Why would you write a manifesto and have it physically on you? Nothing literally makes sense about this case. Pointed it out this morning. I'm like, I wake up every morning and I see more updates about this case. Like, it gets weirder and weirder to the point where I'm like, it's such a big lie that nobody can even fathom it. The Dashing Rogue, don't forget the Monopoly money found in the backpack. Yeah, apparently he had Monopoly money in his backpack and intended to sprinkle it all over the CEO for no reason. Like, just symbolically, I guess. But then inexplicably forgot to do so. That's another weird aspect of the case. How do you forget that? I mean, you killed him with a suppressed weapon, and then biked away. You could have taken 5 seconds to sprinkle the Monopoly cash on him, I guess. And he didn't have his security detail there at the time, by the way. Felix Fanboy Rico, 8,000 for a hit. Didn't read Art of the Deal. Yeah, he should have held out for an extra 8,000. This is Bidenomics. 8,000 ain't doing shit. Oscar Gonzalez. He had 2 different backpacks. Police only found one. Also not a surprise. Although I didn't see that. Doug is saying sticks. Yes, I see you, Doug. The dashing rogue, how do they know that that was his plan or motive? Honestly, you don't really know anything about this case. That's the whole thing. By the way, a lot of people are saying, like, oh, is something wrong with my audio or something? Or my camera? Just a sec. Looks fine on my end. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, then there's the Pelosi connection. It seems like Nancy Pelosi has a track record of selling off stock right before something is going to catastrophically destroy it, or buying stock right at the right time when it's about to rise. Just saying, there's a reason why she has like $50,000 refrigerators stacked with thousands of dollars of ice cream. Most of it's probably for Joe. Huh. Evan Ward, bad as usual. Yeah, I do need to improve my setup. It's as good as I can get it right now. There's something terribly wrong, though, about the Luigi story. Something does not add up. There are too many weird things in this particular case. Like, if I was the judge in the case, I'd be looking at it and shrugging and saying, I don't know what the hell is going on at the moment. What do fuck? How many jackets was the guy wearing? I've counted 3 based on the photos. Huh. Yeah, I mean, we know that he's the shooter in that particular instance, but who influenced him? What was the actual motive? Why the hell did he have a manifesto if he clearly planned to flee? Why did he have a bunch of monopoly money that he never deployed when that was one of his central goals? Everything involving this is just weird. The dashing rogue. Oh, and your chat disappeared. Indeed, it's real greaseball sheet. Yeah, it'll be like the Gulf of Tonkin, and 50 years from now, we'll know actually what happened, probably. Maximum privilege. Audio and video is good on Rumble. Thing is, the assassin grew up with loads of money so he could afford to do the back surgery, but chose not to. There's another interesting coincidence. I've noticed a number of them in this particular case. Wasted bonehead. Good morning from the grave. Poop. Please laugh. Hee. Sigil. The Luigi thing makes me think of Fahrenheit 451. When Montauk is on the run, the government makes a big deal of chasing him down, then kill a random guy just to bring a close to their narrative. By the way, that gets us down the rabbit hole of the Beast of Gévaudan, which I'm going to do a Redux video on, actually associated with the Grey School of Wizardry at some point. That's what I believe actually happened. They killed a couple of big wolves, but that wasn't the Beast. No, the Beast, I believe, was a subadult male lion, and rampaged around and killed a bunch of people, and then they killed it. They realized what it was, said shit, and then they killed a couple of wolves as a cover story. Apache, eyebrows don't match. Not sure if he's the guy. Imagine that he's been falsely accused, and it does turn out in the end that he's not the guy. But they'll put him in jail anyway because they need someone to take the fall. Oscar Gonzalez, Sticks, a psychic looked into Luigi. Supposedly, he took psychedelics for his back pain, and that screwed his mind. Taking psilocybin or LSD or something like that is not going to fuck you up to the point where you become violent, generally speaking. Sigil, yes, I've seen multiple documentaries on the Beast of Gévaudan, but I wanted to do a redux. I'm slightly obsessed with the topic, mainly because my favorite movie is Brotherhood of the Wolf. Manifel, Ronald McDonald is a pedophile clown, like Pogo the Clown. Yeah, they've made Ronald McDonald really creepy now. Like, he used to be he's just Ronald McDonald. Like, the 90s Ronald McDonald sort of made sense, but now they've made him look like kind of like a decked up Rastafarian or something. It's kind of weird. Luigi did not kill himself. Yeah, I mean, when the dude is found hung in his prison cell, he probably wasn't the one that tied the noose. We'll put it that way. Oh, Powerwolf song, yes. Don't know if I've heard any of their material. Now let's talk about mommy influencers. This is a subject that is near and dear to me. I do not believe that if you have a child, you should put them on the internet. You should not take videos of them. You should not take pictures of them. In fact, you shouldn't even tell people their name. I believe in the right to privacy, number one. And number two, there are fucking weirdos in this world, so what the hell are you doing? This particular individual, this is the 17 diapers mom. Apparently she had like a bunch of diapers strewn around the house and stuff and sort of became a meme. TikTok creator Hannah Hyatt is under investigation by the Ogden, Utah police after numerous reports through Child Protective Service, which by the way is a fucking joke, and police following a series of concerning videos she posted to her page. There is a detective assigned to the case, a spokesperson for the Ogden PD told People in a statement, noting there is an open active investigation into the mommy influencer who goes by Hannah Hyatt on the platform. Now, I don't know whether this individual did anything wrong. The allegation is effectively that her son flinched when his father came in, and that they're alleging basically the possibility of abuse. She's saying and has stated publicly that it's more like a game, like they pretend flinch around one another. And by the way, I mean, this is something that I did with my dad. My dad never beat me or anything like that. But you know, you would pretend to be afraid. You know, you jump out and you're like, and then the other person's something like that. So I can understand possibly that there's no actual centrality to the allegations. What I wanted to talk about, though, is the concept of parental influence in general. It is a bad idea to put your child out on the internet. For instance, none of you know my daughter's name. There's a reason for that. It's not that I have any problem with you. It's just I don't want it being public. It is a bad idea. No pictures have been posted publicly. There's a reason for that. Because it's a really fucking bad idea. The idea, by the way, of making money off of your kid, I mean, let's assume that the kid is fucking spoiled. So not even just not being abused, but is actually like pandered. It's still kind of grifty now, isn't it? When you think about it, if you're putting your kid out online and making money basically by putting them out there, at the very least, I mean, establish a trust fund, but I wouldn't do it at all. I think that it's a terrible idea. Yeah, some people think that my daughter's name is Twig because, of course, I'm Sticks. So, you know, miniature stick or something. I'm perfectly happy with people not knowing my daughter's name. They don't know what she looks like. They don't even know her address. That's for the best. Wasted Bonehead. All these leftists celebrate him as a hero, or at least online. Seems like another mask-off moment about the hypocrisy of the left when they claim to be the party of peace and love. Peace and love, man. Peace and love. Cooking Inferno. If you watch documentaries on the best, have you watched the Bigfoot documentary I sent you yet? I am sorry. I get buried in messages all the goddamn time. And today I'm not going to get to anything else. Once this live stream is over, basically, I'm going to pass out for an hour, do the quartering live stream, and then I'm gone because I got some real world shit that I have to do. Today is going to be a difficult day. And I only got like 5 hours of sleep. And I'm not one of those people like Donald Trump that can get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep and still be fully functional. So a little bit of a problem. What do fuck? If he was brainwashed, the simplest answer is his years of being marinated in leftoid grievance theory by liberal arts professors. It's possible. Sigil sent me a video link that I can't take right now because copyright and shit probably. Wasted. You want to see something creepy? Look up the original Ronald McDonald. Fucking creepy. And Last Beacon saying ping us over and over again. So yeah, what I would say is I'm not going to pass any judgment in this case because, I mean, I have no clue. Just, it's not a good idea generally to put your kid online, even if it's like a child-friendly channel. Like, I mean, for my purposes, I wouldn't put somebody, who's particularly young on my channel, whether it's my daughter or not, because I swear like a drunken sailor and so forth. But even if it was a family-friendly channel and like the only thing I do is like grow flowers and chickens or something like that, still, it's not a good idea to have your child on your channel because it can be a threat to them. Somebody might get obsessed, they end up with a stalker and they come to your house with duct tape and a butcher's knife or something like that. So keep the kids off the internet. In fact, I'm kind of coming around to the concept of banning children from the internet entirely, because then we can also have a much more edgy internet. Well, we kill two birds with one stone. I'm being mostly facetious when I say that. Alfman, Miss Swan. He looking like a man. Orange cat and gray cat. Meow. Hello, everybody. Yeah, Miss Swan. Yeah, that was great back in the day on Mad TV. Apache. It's not just leftists celebrating. Insurance is a state-funded scam that's killed millions. True. I wish Luigi was legit, but the spirit is still there. Yeah, as far as killing like healthcare CEOs and stuff, I will just not remark on it at all because I'd probably get banned for my opinion. Just saying. Last weekend. Also, I'm feeling a hell of a lot better because I had a cold that was kicking my ass all throughout the end of November and the beginning of the month. Yeah, I had something around Thanksgiving, and I don't know what sickness I had, but I felt fucking goddamn terrible. I had Thanksgiving dinner, and it was like half out of it the entire time. Then I laid down in bed and stared at the ceiling for several hours, and it took several days to go away. And the only thing that approximates it is one time when I was 15, all of a sudden in the middle of the day, I felt tired, massively tired, like completely exhausted. I could barely put one foot in front of the other. And so I had lunch, and then I'm like, I'm going to go take a nap. Now, I fell asleep, and then I woke up, and I figured, okay, I took like a 2-hour nap. Nope, it was more like 24 hours. I fell asleep, woke up the next day around the same time. I thought it was the same day. I thought that I had only passed out for an hour or so. And now I slept for 24 hours. And I'm like, Mom was like, confused over it, actually. I'm like, wait, why are you confused? Because I figured that it was just a short nap. And I'm like, I told you I was tired. I just needed to conk out for a little bit. She's like, basically, you know what day it is. And it was very, very interesting. Cat cans. No, it had nothing to do with carbon monoxide or anything like that. No, it was just randomly. I just got massively tired, passed out, and slept for 24 hours or a little bit more than that. But this last Thanksgiving, I just felt like bad, so to speak. I felt exhausted, and also I had some like pain basically in my back, and I just was massively tired. I feel fine now, but last weekend I may have been getting sparse coughing here and there, but I'm pretty much over it now. Good. Wasted. Luigi is clearly a fall guy for his brother Mario. Yes, you've got Mario, and Luigi Mario. If you've never seen the Mario Brothers movie from the 90s, by the way, you're missing out on life. Extreme campiness, horrendous dad humor and puns and stuff like that. Terrible movie. But it's one of those movies that was so terrible that it was hysterical. Just watch it, preferably when you're on substances. Sigil Stone, the real shooter is named Koopa, and he's pinning it on Luigi. His name is King Koopa. Bowser is his slave name. The jokes write themselves. Felix Fanboy, I had the same motherfucking sickness recently. Weird. Yeah, my mom had it too. I don't know what the hell a virus is going around, but it causes extreme exhaustion and gastrointestinal cramping. A bridge too far. Saddam, Gaddafi, Assad, all despots, but look what happens when they're removed. It takes me like these to run those countries. Yeah, that's the problem. It's not that anyone is apologizing for evil dictators. It's that, the other group that comes in after the evil dictator is gone is 10 times more tyrannical. And so it's like, you kind of have to be Team Assad, Team Gaddafi. Apparently Assad and his family were airlifted by the Russians, so they managed to escape. Hopefully they make a triumphant return and restore order in that country. And we've gotten to the point where we're literally, celebrating if Assad comes back to his home country, showing that Western policy is such a great success. Wasted Bonehead. Didn't King Koopa transition? I think he goes by Bowsette now. Oh, God. Last Beacon. Now I'm way behind on Christmas stuff. I need to get my stuff together. I need to do some Christmas stuff too soon. Thank you for reminding me. Let's get to our sponsors really quick, shall we? We're not going to get to all these news stories. I'm going to keep it fairly on the short side today. We'll definitely get to the deadly virus story because that's extremely concerning. Our sponsors, cultivated-mind.com, where you can get beautiful mushroom pills, lion's mane, chaga, reishi, turkey tail, maitake, shiitake, and other various mushroom extracts. And that helps boost energy. Also good for your immune system. I speak anecdotally. I mean, I take it every morning. I wouldn't be pitching it if I didn't. We've also got pumpkinfirecrafts.us, where you can get bookmarks, keychains, belt chains, engraved spoons. Yes, with the Ouroboros logo. Those are very important for the coffee lover in your life. We'll talk about coffee in a moment. Glassware, and much more. I believe that they also have new things in stock there, so just check it out. I can't remember exactly what was in stock new. BiltongUSA.com. Anton can hook you up with all sorts of meat. Also, apparently, sugared fruits and stuff. Like I've still got that ginger in the refrigerator. I still haven't opened it up to try. I'm kind of waiting till I make like a scrambly rice or something. And I figure I'll chop it up and put it in that, and it'll be delicious. Also, Sticks, Hex, and Hammer mugs and tumblers available from him as well. wickedneedleembroidery.bigcartel.com, where you can get Sticks, Hex, and Hammer hats. Several colors and several designs are available. Again, the one with the camo, that was apparently a mistake of some sort and then sold out. So unfortunately, those are not at this time available. HeritageHeirloomSeedCompany.com. You can get a seed survival bucket and grow some of these bad boys, among other things. And trust me, they are tasty, even though they don't necessarily look particularly tasty. Well, kind of. I mean, look at that. Yeah, it's modeled and shit. You can also get Sticks, Hex, and Hammer soap there as well. Webster'sWares.com/sticks-wares. They've still, I believe, got the sale going off on the Trump merchandise. You can also get metal straws with the Ouroboros logo, as well as other things. We've got blades available. We've got beanies, an homage to Tim Pool because it's hilarious. All sorts of good stuff is available on Webster's Wares. And finally, jamandbean.com. That is JAMNbean.com, where you can get the thing that I sniff literally every day, simply for the novelty, simply because it smells good. The rest of it, not going to last very long, trust me. They've also got a bunch of tea available. Honestly, at this point, I'm a little bit more into the tea. They've got this one. It's called Hunan Jin, I think it is. And it's like the standard black tea that you get in, a Chinese restaurant, but 10 times better. And if you brew it properly, it's goddamn delicious. It's also caffeinated. This is helpful. Cooking Inferno. You're killing me, Smalls. Last Beacon. I may have been getting... Oh, I already read that one. Wasted Bonehead. Luigi is clearly... I read that one too. I lost my place on Rumble. My apologies. Derp. Where actually was I here? Oh, Cooking Inferno. Is Luigi Mangione related to Chuck Mangione of King of the Hill fame? Probably. Sigil. How disquieting it must be to the East Bloc to watch America tear down a nation in less than a week because we felt like it. That's a huge flex of power, and it was wielded so casually. Yeah, the Biden administration was definitely involved in what happened in Syria. I feel very sorry for the Syrian people. Terminator, Trav. Hey, Sticks, I was a 5-cig-a-day smoker for 10 years. I'm 26. Until a week ago, I quit because I found out I have mild COPD. What's a good natural way to help heal my lungs outside of exercise? Simply do not smoke. I would just not smoke and get exercise. You can get one of those things, what the hell is it called? Those things that make like fog, and you inhale it. Sometimes they give it to asthmatics. I can't remember exactly what they're called. You can try one of those. That might work. Sigil, Putin and Xi had to have a nervous hard swallow knowing Syria only remained intact because America allowed it to be, and how it could happen to them directly. Last week, and I agree on the whole trying not to stop toppling evil dictators, especially when they're trying to house certain people, mainly NSA assets. Looking at you, Edward Snowden. What do fuck? I just bought my supply of biltong. Yummy stuff. Follow-up. I picked up the beef and the bison. Haven't tried the bison yet, but the purchase was based on your recommendation. They're all good. It literally doesn't matter what you buy from Anton. Wasted Bonehead Sticks. We all know you have love Hocus Pocus for Halloween, but what about Christmas movies? Do you have a favorite Christmas movie? Yes, Year Without a Santa Claus is a yearly guilty pleasure. Anything with any of those old movies with Burl Ives narrating, all of those I like. Rudolph Shiny New Year, Year Without a Santa Claus, all of those. Redane, why haven't you made any occult videos lately? I will be making more of those soon. Like I got the Beast of Gévaudan Redux. It's just because of the election, politics was so much at the forefront. I literally didn't have time to make anything other than political content for the most part. So I will be docketing some good occultism soon. And it will be fun. We'll be talking about psyops. We'll be talking about herbalism. Pretty much everything. Fantech 104. Brett Cooper is leaving Daily Wire. Could this also be the end of the latte conservatism? I think Brett will do better as an independent creator. Yeah, it seems that's sort of habitual. Somebody leaves a major network, they start a podcast or something, and as long as they're not, far left, they do better than they did before. I don't know how much money they make, but considering the viewership on some of these programs, it must be significant. Felix Fanboy, a dumb question, but does smoking cigarettes versus smoking weed do the same damage to lungs? I too stopped smoking months ago, but still smoke weed. They are equivalent with regards to the damage done. Of course, you can vape or something like that. Alfman, Oolong, that's what she said. Sigil, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, and saying it is Reddit cringe. It is a Christmas movie, and in fact, I watched it last night. Cooking Inferno, yet you don't have time to discuss the Whitehall and Rutland Bigfoot. Again, bump it to the top one last time. I will try to watch it. It's just, I get so many news articles all day, every day. It's hundreds and hundreds of messages just on one platform, so it becomes a little bit difficult. And then a judge rejected the Onion's buying of Infowars. We're not going to bother talking about that because who gives a fucking shit? Basically, the Onion got fucked, but yeah, I mean, technically they didn't because their bid, I think, was more to get attention than anything else. I don't think it was ever a serious attempt to actually buy Infowars. Although you never know. I mean, it is the Onion, so who knows? By the way, I forgot my V8. Have to drink it later on the quartering broadcast. What do fuck? THC gummies save your lungs and last longer, too. Yeah, but some people don't really like edibles. Like, I've known several people that have accidentally ingested edibles. Oh boy, I can tell you one fucking hilarious story. I'm not going to name names or say anything about him, but I know an individual who, I've met him a few times. Again, I'm not going to say who it is for privacy purposes. But one time he was at a party and they had brownies and he was hungry. So he ate like half the pan of brownies. The problem is that the brownies were edibles and they were like macro dosing, like lots and lots of weed was in them. And he was made aware of the fact that they were drugged. And he's like, oh, shit. And basically sat there in a stupor for an extended period of time, unable to even speak or move. There's another experience. I mean, I've never had an edible in my life. And of course, I don't do those sorts of things. And at the moment, legally can't anyway. But I knew another person who had like a marijuana cookie at one point. And she basically thought she was dying and ended up basically just passed out on the couch, more or less. I don't know. Edibles sound kind of terrifying to me. It's like if you're smoking the weed, okay, you took a quick hit and you feel a little toasty, then you can stop. But with the marijuana edible, unless you know the exact dosage, it's going to be a little difficult. I mean, with smoking weed, it can be a problem too, because, two weeds are not necessarily equivalent to one another. You have sativa and indica and some Chinese hybrid or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. But they come in different proportions, and there's definitely different strength involved. Like if I ever decided to get into the business, I guarantee my stuff would knock your fucking ass out. Just saying. All you have to do is experiment, but I don't really do that anymore. Wasted Bonehead, Proof Sigil is a bot. Everyone and their mother knows Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I agree with Wasted on this one. In fact, Rambo is too, apparently. There's a Christmas tree in it. Kinda. Die Hard is definitely a Christmas movie. Last Beacon, follow up to my last statement. That's why we have the whole Ukraine-Russia war. They want Edward Snowden's head on a plate. Had Edward Snow not gone over to Russia, we will be continuing messing up in the Middle East, mainly to give Israel a hard time. Yeah. I mean, our diplomacy right now, unfortunately, until January 20th, is still going to be fucked. So people in the rest of the world, please forgive the United States if the administration does anything fucktarded, because thankfully in, about a month, Donald Trump will be taking over and things will be a little bit more intelligent. Abstract Cats official TSG sent $1. No comment. Thank you. What do fuck? Once in Amsterdam, my friend and I bought space cake for 7 guilders. We had a collective IQ of about 20. Yeah, I've never used an edible in my life. And it's been a long time since I've been a weed smoker because I overdosed. Even though the mushroom pills are neuroregenerative, never mind. I won't even talk about that. But yeah, not really into it. Lapse of apathy. I once had a THC drink, and I didn't realize it was about 250 milligrams. I had the worst possible panic attack. You can get those in New Orleans, but they're extremely weak, and they literally appear to do nothing. I never used one, of course. Aurora Sonic Reactor. Fantastic Planet is a Christmas movie. Change my mind. Never seen it. I think I've heard of that. Oh, isn't that weird psychedelic movie? Let me look that up. Yes. Thank you very, very much. I couldn't remember the name of that actual movie. And I saw part of it and I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Yeah, you don't want to watch that on a marijuana edible. Let's put it this way. Deadly virus samples went missing from lab in major biosecurity breach, say authorities. This was in Australia, by the way. Hundreds of deadly virus samples are missing from a laboratory in Australia, the Queensland government announced on Monday. This is wonderful, by the way. The government has instructed Queensland Health, Australia's public health department, to launch an investigation into what's being described as a major historical breach of biosecurity protocol, according to the online media statement. It was reported that 323 vials of multiple infectious viruses, including Hendra virus, lyssavirus, that's rabies, or hantavirus, I think hantavirus is the rabies, went missing from Queensland's public health virology laboratory in August 2023. We're just now hearing about this, by the way. That makes me sleep a little bit more soundly at night. Hendra is a zoonotic, animal-to-human virus that's only been found in Australia. Hantavirus is a family of viruses that can lead to serious illness and death, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, while lyssavirus is a group of viruses that can cause fucking rabies. The fucking is, of course, not actually in the article. The lab where the samples went missing provides diagnostic services, surveillance, and research for viruses and mosquito and tick-borne pathogens of medical importance, the release stated. You remember when they were doing tick research that one time, and then Lyme disease all of a sudden emerged in the same area. Yeah, again, so many coincidences on the medicinal level. It is not known whether the infectious samples were stolen or destroyed, the statement said, and there is no evidence of risk to the community. No, I'm just walking around with a virus, with a vial full of rabies. There's no problem with this. It's perfectly fine. Yeah. Imagine when the Chinese figure out how to make rabies airborne, then 99% of the world's population dies in a couple of weeks. Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, it's just a bunch of viruses went missing. There's no problem. Everything's all right. Don't worry about it too much. Whenever you have a story like this that should be like A+ level concerning, but it's sort of buried, that's when I get worried. This is exactly what happened with COVID. When it first emerged, everyone was acting like it was no big deal. Even as late as February, Nancy Pelosi's like, party down in Chinatown. I had seen the writing on the wall almost 2 months prior and said, no, this is definitely something you need to be concerned about. Maybe not the virus itself, but the situation that can be created by it. Yeah, you should probably be concerned. And you should go and get some canned goods. Don't forget the can opener. That was the big moniker at the time. This gives me the same vibe where you've got a major story. This is a major biosecurity breach. We're talking rabies virus and all this other crazy shit. It's like, okay, yeah, somebody borrowed the smallpox vial, but there's like only one story about it. That's when I start getting a little bit suspicious. Just saying. And considering that and all the other weird shit we see in the news right now, I'm beginning to think that there's one hell of a major problem coming. What the fuck? When the CCCP makes rabies airborne, bats will tell each other, stay away from these humans, you could catch rabies. Last week, and especially in 2013 when Egypt ousted Mohamed Morsi and put in Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Yeah, I remember that. Thankfully, the Egyptian people managed to fight back enough to overthrow the Islamists. Sigil, interesting how people say THC is safe, but whenever anyone has more than a nibble of an edible, they freak the fuck out. Things that make you say, No, there's nothing wrong with THC. I mean, unless you megadose it, it's not going to hurt you, but it can freak you out, yeah. King of Biltong, Anton is here. Give the gift that keeps on giving, saving the climate by eating more biltong. Use code STIX10 for 10% off. Also, follow our channel for some heavy cooking and light banter. Eat at Anton's. I do recommend that you eat at Anton's. Take the shredded meat and put it in some noodle soup. That's delicious. Take the sticks, haha, pun intended. Take them out when you're going hiking. You can literally just shove them in your pocket and just munch on them. And if you get met by like a bear or a rabid wolf, then hopefully you can distract them. They'd much rather eat the biltong than you. It's much tastier. I mean, unless you're a female who happens to be ovulating at the time. Joke intended. Let's see. Yeah, the migrant shelters in New York are beginning to close. That's very, very good. Donald Trump has not yet taken office. A lot of people think, okay, he got elected, so now he's president. No, he doesn't take office until January 20th. Somehow, though, his arrival has calmed things down in multiple foreign countries, although Syria is a little bit fucked up, more fucked up than the others right now, and is now creating a better economy already. You saw that the jobs report was relatively good in the wake of that, and also is calming things down with regards to the border. Slowing down the number of migrants coming across makes it easier to build the wall. You do still need deportation, but you sort of got to prioritize like which groups are you actually going to be capable of deporting in a timely fashion. But I find it funny that the mere fact that Donald Trump will take office appears to already be easing the pressure on the system. He hasn't even taken the oath of office. He's not the president of the United States. But all of a sudden, all of these other countries want to do more meaningful diplomacy, and then the border starts solving itself, Sigil, so for the proposed Disease X, I see Global Homo has opted for all of the above. I think that the ultimate doom of mankind, assuming that it's biological in nature, would be airborne rabies. Very, very few people would survive. They'd be few and far between. They wouldn't even have a mating population. What the fuck? Early last week, I asked you if you thought the CIA was responsible for the uprising in Syria. This was before the fall of Assad. Do you still think they weren't involved? Thanks. No, I think it's not an organic movement because there's no such thing. It was definitely facilitated in part by the Biden administration. I don't think they needed the CIA. I think basically the rebels decided to move in before the Trump administration began because they knew that they would get curb stomped if they did it afterwards. And so they took advantage. They were already supplied. They already had the funding. They already had the manpower. It was always there. They were just waiting for an opportune moment. Alvman, my political dipstick is now visible. Are the homeless camps by the highway off-ramps? Yeah, there are several homeless encampments here in Rutland, unfortunately. Used to only be one, and it used to be out back behind the train yard, so it's sort of just out of view, you know, on the edge of the gut. Now there's another one over by the hospital, actually, now. By the way, please send no more super chats. I got to get to this last report and several super chats over here already. Copium Poppies, YouTube blocking all our super chats. You should sue them for denying you revenue. Canada and every other freeloader nation on the North, Central, and South American continents is rightfully ours. Manifest destiny. Yeah, that'd be fun. We should take over Mexico, too. I would love to be able to go see the Yucatan without a passport. Mog of War. I remember you were also cautious about the virus itself. That was back when we didn't know what it did. And you called it on the lockdown BS. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't trying to get sick with anything because being sick sucks, but it was more about the human reaction than the virus itself. That could be the case for any particular epidemic. McAllister, Trump was at a speech and this happened. Trump, where's the gays for Trump? Spots one. Trump, you don't look gay. Lol. Hashtag gays for Trump. Anja Warless, quercetin with bromelain capsules. I've taken bromelain before. Tastes good, by the way. Tastes a little bit like pineapple, probably because that's where it's from. Mullein leaf drops, slippery elm drops. These all help clear lungs. I'm a severe refractory asthmatic. These got me off all my meds 4 years ago. Yes, mullein is indicated in many, many pieces of literature from the 19th century, especially for asthma and for lung complaints in general. They used to make cigarettes with datura, actually, as well. That I don't recommend you take because it's a hallucinogen. So, yeah, mullein is probably a little bit better. Not a banned account. Will jury nullification acquit the CEO on a liver? I mean, that could actually happen. Here, just a sec. Okay, I've got Fantastic Planet docketed. A sec. What am I doing? I'll figure it out later. Yeah, it's possible. Albin Jansen, what jobs have you had other than being a content creator and writer? The only other standard job that I've ever served in was at UVM. I did work study and I've done odd jobs and other things like painting and cabinet making from time to time. The only other major job that I've had, like an actually salaried job, was when I was student alumni calling. It was called Chatty Cats at UVM. I think they still exist. Still probably have the t-shirt from that. And basically the idea was that you would, I'm not going to get to this last report. Just a second before I answer that. Yeah, and Linda McMahon says that they're going to basically abolish the concept of federal education. This is a good thing, by the way. But the only other job that I had was Chatty Cats. And what you would do is you would call alumni from UVM. And so basically you're begging people to give you money when they're already in debt to you. And even on day one, I felt uncomfortable with this and said, like, is this really what I want to be doing with my time? Yeah, I need the money, but it just felt unethical, if that makes sense. Because these people, generally speaking, are already in debt. And by the way, for the brief period that I was there, I think I worked for a couple of months, I actually had a pretty good percentage. I actually was doing fairly well. They almost let me go after the first couple of days, but then I sort of fell into pace and I was making a decent number of donations, getting the money. But then I realized, number one, I'm getting a fraction of what you fuckers are getting. Number two, I'm asking people who are already in some cases poor or in debt to pay more money to a university they are already potentially in debt to. And I started feeling bad about myself. And so I realized I couldn't keep it up. So I said, you know what? I'm going to throw a wrench in the system. And so what I did was I kept showing up for work as long as I could. It was 2 or 3 weeks before they caught me. And I was just bouncing calls and doing zany shit and basically mumbling to people that they shouldn't donate. And I was sabotaging hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls because I felt uncomfortable with the fact that this sort of thing even goddamn exists. So I sabotaged them. It was probably, I don't know, 100 calls a night for the couple of weeks there. That's a lot of calls. And so they had to go back through the system and sort of go back through the calls and have somebody else do it. They fired me, of course. What happened is they called me into the office and they're like, we were listening to you tonight. And they didn't understand. They're like, this has never happened before. And I'm like, I shrugged my shoulders and I just looked at them and said, am I fired? And they said, yeah. So then I said, okay. And I just got my bag. I went back to my dorm and I dropped acid. Ta-da! That was fun, by the way. Looking at the looks on their faces, like the dude there, and he was probably as young as me. And he's like one of those dudes that like a Dash Dabrowski that prematurely ages. So he looked like he was 40, but you could tell he was like barely out of college. And he had the most astonished look on his face. He's like, what the fuck am I even looking at? Because they listened to the calls and I was putting them down as not home when they said no to donating. Or I was just or I was basically telling them don't bother fucking donating. And by the way, that night, it was even crazier. Because a couple of nights before, I pulled an all-nighter, so to speak. That's because I came into work and I had, if I remember correctly, I had a Monster, a Red Bull, one of those shitty energy drinks, the really hyper sugary ones. I can't remember what the hell they're called, and an energy shot. And I was shooting it down the entire time. These were like 5-hour shifts, by the way. It was like, I think 3 days a week or something. So it was part-time. But I was so hyper caffeinated, I was practically jiggling around in my seat. And so I'm sitting there basically high off caffeine, bouncing these calls. And I'm chuckling to myself the entire fucking shift. It was great. Yeah, fuck alumni calling. You should sabotage your workplace too, if your workplace sucks. If your workplace is good, then you should definitely be loyal. But if you're doing that kind of job, you're a starving college student who's already in debt, and you're calling other people that are in debt to give more money to the same university that's fucking you in the ass. I'm sorry, I don't see any ethical complaint in sabotaging them. Oh boy, I screwed them good. Probably lucky I didn't get fucking sued. Yeah, I had a great time doing that shit. Yeah, that's the only other job that I've had that was like, sort of on the books. Everything else has been painting, odd jobs, building. I built cabinets for this one very nice but rather eccentric lady from Bermuda once, and she gave me a shit ton of money. It took me like a fucking hour, and she's giving me like, and then keep in mind, I'm like 10 years old at the time. She's giving me like, and this is back in the day, she's giving me like $300 for a couple of hours of work. And I was like, holy shit, this is going to buy a whole lot of Legos. Now it won't even buy your groceries, but back then, it was a decent amount of money for a 10-year-old. And, but she didn't know how to assemble them, and they were modular. So it's not like I had to do rough carpentry or anything. Literally, all you had to do was open up the instructions and figure out where the screw goes. But she couldn't do it, and apparently her husband couldn't either. And by the way, she would wear transparent pants without panties around me, and that's maybe a little bit on the weird side. I'm not saying that I minded, but Last Beacon 83, last Rumble Rant, ping us. I'm not going to say ping us over and over again. No, but she was pretty cool. I can't remember her name. She also gave me a laptop. So I got paid like double. And it was a good one. It was a yesteryear laptop, but at the time, high end, actually. Cyber Demon, Romanian and Trump supporter here. In Eastern Europe, Russia is real. It was real in Moldova, too. Take a look at declassified CSAT report where it's clear as day Russia got involved. Use translator. Yeah, Russia definitely involves itself in its neighbors' problems. So does the U.S., etc., etc. Any nation that has any means always tries to get involved in other nations. It's just inevitable. In this particular case in Syria, though, it appears to be more of an organic movement, but it was definitely partially fomented by the Biden admin. Sigil Stone, no, this is the last rant. Fuck you. I'm going to end up making $1 million just because everyone wants the last Rumble rant. Yeah, no, other than that, I haven't really had any jobs. I painted a little bit. Oh, and there was that one time that one family hired me to clear out their pond. They were like, redoing the pond with, I guess, clay siding or whatever the hell you do with a pond. And so I was scraping it out. That was fun. Also painted their house. Then the other lady had me building the cabinets. That's basically it. I'm extremely lucky. I'd probably be living under a bridge if I hadn't made a breakthrough on the internet. I mean, I have some skills, If this falls through, I suppose somebody can hire me as a agricultural consultant or something like that. That would be good. If I couldn't be a content creator, I would want to be in agriculture, like in soil science or something like that. As a kid, I wanted to be an entomologist. I was obsessed with ants and termites and stuff like that. I loved insects. Wasted Bonehead, I can't let Sigil have it. Also, you missed my last one. Fuck you, shitstone. Sorry about that. Sigil, what a dick. Yeah, Wasted managed to get one up on you there. He is fundamentally correct about Die Hard as well. So we're going to give Wasted this one. Anyways, I'm going to go offline. I had very much fun. Have the other live stream with the quartering, of course, at 1 p.m. So that's an hour from now. And then I will be back tomorrow with more news. Probably, there's a 99% chance that I live stream tomorrow. Although with the rate at which the rain is falling and some of the flood warnings right now, it's always possible that we lose power. I'm hoping that that doesn't happen. And also Fidium is having a thrombo. Okay, that's about all. Peace out.